Crying on that stage.
When am I not crying in public? It's so upsetting.
Why were you crying?
Oh my gosh! I saw the. Well, we didn't even see.
Overwhelming.
We didn't even see,
It's
but I saw the
overwhelming.
logo and I went, "That's my name. Snow White's up there," and I cried my eyes out.
What happens when Disney's most iconic fairy tale gets outshined by a movie based on digital dirt, pixelated zombies, and a lava-cooked chicken? For years, Snow White was billed as Disney's big return to form, a legacy reboot with a modern twist. But by the time it hit theaters, audiences weren't enchanted. They were confused, even annoyed. And when the dust settled, the numbers weren't just bad, they were devastating. The film flopped hard. And quietly, another contender rose to the top. Minecraft, a movie with no classic IP, no sweeping love story, and no message-heavy interviews. Just one thing Disney's remake seemed to be missing: fun. At the heart of Minecraft, Jack Black, the actor everyone loves, the voice of a generation who grew up on gaming and chaos. And while Rachel Zegler was doing damage control on red carpets, Jack was out here throwing lava on chickens, and audiences were eating it up. He didn't say much about Snow White, but what he did say, it was subtle, polite, but it stung. He didn't throw shade. He didn't need to. With just a few well-timed words about preparation, gratitude, and the joy of being part of something fans actually wanted, Jack may have delivered the most respectful takedown of Disney's entire strategy. This isn't just about one actress or one flop. It's about how Hollywood lost the plot, and how a humble game about punching trees may have just saved it. Let's get into it. When Disney greenlit a Snow White remake, expectations were sky high. This was the film that launched the studio back in 1937, the original animated blockbuster. With a massive production budget, a reworked script meant to appeal to modern audiences, and a marketing machine the size of a small nation, failure wasn't on the table. At least not at first. But then came the early warning signs. Fan reaction to the first teaser was lukewarm. Comments flooded in, questioning the visual tone, the dialogue, and most of all, the direction. The controversy wasn't just about casting, it was about tone. Viewers felt like the magic had been replaced by messaging. People weren't excited, they were confused, even irritated. And then Minecraft happened. No A-list stars, no Oscar bait marketing, just a simple, lighthearted story rooted in nostalgia and fun. But by week 3, it had already made triple what Snow White pulled in over 3 months. Box office analysts were stunned. Disney was rattled. And audiences, they had already moved on. Behind the scenes, Rachel Zegler wasn't just watching the numbers, she was living the fallout. According to insiders, the pressure had been building for months. She had tried to hold the line during press tours, putting on a brave face and calling the criticism expected. But eventually, the cracks started to show. Reports leaked that Rachel had sought professional help to cope with the emotional strain. She had been the face of the film for so long, defending its themes, fighting back against online hate, and attempting to spin interviews into moments of empowerment. But when the film crashed, she was left exposed and exhausted. Instead of stepping back or regrouping, Rachel reportedly shifted to blaming others, the studio, the media, even the Minecraft movie. Friends say she felt like a scapegoat, but to the public, it came across as deflection. Her fans were empathetic for a time, but the more she pushed blame outward, the more people started asking, was she ever really ready for this role? The idea that Minecraft sabotaged Snow White sounds like satire. But according to multiple entertainment reporters, Rachel allegedly suggested in private conversations that the timing of Minecraft's success directly impacted Snow White's performance. The implication? That audiences were distracted by a quirky video game movie and didn't give Snow White a fair shot. But the internet isn't that forgiving. Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit exploded with commentary. Nobody bought the excuse. Critics pointed out that Minecraft earned its success through pure fan support. It had no controversy, no drama, no baggage, just Jack Black, pixelated jokes, and a plot that didn't take itself too seriously. In contrast, Snow White came across as insecure, overproduced, focused on teaching rather than entertaining. And that difference, it made all the difference. The internet never forgets. A clip from an early Snow White press junket re-emerged. Rachel, visibly shaken, nearly in tears. She talked about how overwhelming the backlash was even before filming finished. At the time, it was a humanizing moment. She was 21, newly famous, and facing relentless criticism. But a year later, the context changed. Now, her interviews were being dissected. Her tone, once seen as honest, was being read as dismissive. Her comments about the original Snow White being outdated felt like disrespect rather than insight. And fans who once defended her were beginning to distance themselves. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it, the attitude, the vibe. It rubbed people the wrong way, even those who agreed with her at first. And then, Jack Black, promoting Minecraft, he delivered what may have been the most charming interview of the year. No shots fired, no shade thrown, just warmth, humor, and a little nerdy nostalgia. He talked about how he used to play Minecraft with his kids, how honored he felt to be part of something fun. He smiled, he laughed, and fans fell in love all over again. It was everything Rachel's interviews weren't. Relaxed, relatable, sincere. Jack didn't try to lecture fans. He just made them feel included. Without even trying, he became the antithesis of the Snow White marketing campaign, and the internet took notice. And then the meme. In a now viral clip, Jack Black is seen roasting a chicken in Minecraft lava, but someone edited Rachel's face onto the chicken. The punchline? Brutal. The internet? Obsessed. Within hours, the meme was everywhere. Fan pages, subreddits, YouTube reactions. It was funny, but it also felt true. While Rachel was giving emotionally strained interviews and blaming everyone from trolls to the press, Jack was just having fun. And audiences made their choice. Not because Jack was right and Rachel was wrong, but because one of them felt real and the other felt like a PR rehearsal gone wrong. And just like that, Disney hit the brakes. Insiders leaked that upcoming live-action projects, including Tangled, were now being reviewed. Translation: nobody wants to be the next flop. The studio had banked on remakes as a safe bet, but now it was a reputational risk. Executives went silent, budgets were frozen, and internally questions were being asked. How did one of the most famous fairy tales of all time become a cautionary tale? The answer? A mix of tone-deaf storytelling, PR blunders, and a misread of what fans actually wanted. The longer Rachel stayed in the spotlight, the more the narrative turned. Gal Gadot hinted that the set lacked teamwork. Co-stars went quiet. Directors grew nervous. Even Rachel's own public statements began to shift from confident to cautious. Then came the personal update. Her dog was sick. She posted about it with raw vulnerability, and for the first time in months, people responded with kindness. It felt real, not scripted, not curated, just honest. But even that moment of sincerity couldn't stop the industry machine. Studios were rethinking casting decisions. Directors were hesitant to attach her name to new projects. The backlash had become career-threatening. Snow White didn't just flop, it sent a message. Audiences are done with corporate messaging disguised as storytelling. They want joy, sincerity, escapism, not lectures. Jack Black won the cultural moment not by preaching, but by playing. Rachel Zegler lost not because she was a bad actress, but because she felt disconnected from the story, and the audience felt that too. So here's the real question. Was Rachel a scapegoat for a flawed studio vision? Or did she become the perfect example of what happens when marketing drowns out magic? Let us know what you think in the comments. Was this fair? Was this inevitable? Or is Hollywood just repeating the same mistakes? And if you thought this story was wild, wait until you see what we're covering next. See you soon.